Let's go. Watch where you're going. Good job, Bird.
With the camera, eh?
You might have to take her home. She's not going to leave you.
Yeah.
She likes you too much. Hello, and welcome to the Lone Larch Podcast. My name is Jenny. You can find me on Instagram and Etsy as Lone Larch Designs. I look exhausted today. I am not exhausted. The lighting's bad. You can also find me on Ravelry as Jentastic. And that is it. Today is January the 29th, I think. And today we are in Edmonton, Alberta. I spent yesterday helping my sister move into her new townhouse. She is starting a new phase in her life, and so I helped her gather her things and move into her new place, and it's very exciting. And it's very close to where we grew up, so it was really it was really fun for me to just be driving around here and know where I was going and not have to be asking Google every 5 minutes where I was. And I just have very fond memories of this part of Edmonton, so it's good to be here. And it's good for Katie to be here. This is one of Katie's photographs that she took. She's a photographer. She owns KT Photography, I think is what it's called. She's on Instagram as well. I'll put links in and stuff. I might have a little special guest. She's coming back later, and I think she agreed to do a little snippet. I'm not sure if she's still up for it, but you may get to meet her in a minute. Anyway, she is very good at her job, and yeah, look at that. That is not her. That's one of her clients, but she has a fantastic eye. And I'm going to also share some, she did maternity photos for me and also newborn photos of Emmy, and she did a fantastic job. So I'll share those with you as well, if I can search back far enough on my computer and find them. Can you hear? Welcome. I wanted to say thank you to all of the notes I've been getting lately. I've been getting lots of thank you notes for the podcast, putting the time in, and thank you notes for the bags that I've been making. I should be thanking you guys for ordering them, and I truly do appreciate that so much. Oh, I also got lots of comments in Ravelry messages about people actually enjoying me talk about my life. So I always thought that I talked about it too much, but if you guys like it, then I'll just keep telling you all the shenanigans that are going on, because it's kind of fun. Life. That's what I'm going to call this segment now. Life. This is what's going on in my world. There's been lots of activities, which is very exciting. Because I'm not doing very much tree work, I tend to get a little bit, I don't know what word to use. I tend to get a little bit loose in my fitness in the winter. I just ski, but that's really the only exercise that I get other than walking a dog or, you know, chasing a child around. So it's been awesome. I've gotten a lot of skiing in lately, which makes me very happy. Right after I recorded last time, I went on a night ski. It was still when it was quite cold. I think it was -15 that night. But it was a full moon. The moon was so bright. We had headlamps, but we didn't use them for very much of the skiing. The trails that we go on go through the forest, and it's quite protected. There isn't a whole lot of light that gets in, but there was still so much light from the moon that we didn't need our headlamps. It was really awesome. There was about 12 of us. Did I say that already? Very small group, but we were all very close to the same speed. So it was very cool to turn around and see everybody, all the headlamps and all like the silhouettes coming through the trees behind me. It was very cool. I really am happy that I found the cross country ski club in my town because, yeah, it really helps me get through the winter. They're such lovely people. A lot of them are older and retired, but it doesn't matter. They're fantastic. And they're in such good shape that they routinely put me through the ringer, so it's all good. It's fantastic, actually. Amy and I did do a little bit of tree work. We just had one job left to do, and it was really fun. We took down a Mayday tree, and Amy just went up and blasted. We had a new chain on my little canopy saw, so branches were flying to the floor. It was really fun. And I got to use my new chainsaw for the first time, my new 362. It was magical. And the fact that it is mine, that I actually possess such an amazing tool, was really, really awesome. It just, the fact that Jared knows me so well and just buy me a chainsaw and I'm happy. Or yarn. Or a fleece and I'm fine. Oh, hey Kate. It's about time. I was waiting for you to text me during my recording. What else happened? I think this is hilarious. Emmy has taken to wearing side ponies all the time, and it's amazing. That is all. It makes me happy. Oh yeah, I went to knit night in Calgary. Ginger Kim from Ginger Snap That One, I think is what she is on Instagram. She has an Etsy store. She makes project bags as well. Kim and Alicia from Yarn Inc. and Julia from Vivid Yarn Studios and their friend Christy. She's Hello Christy on Christy, I think she is, on Instagram. They have a knit night every Monday usually at a Starbucks in South Calgary, and I had babysitting, so I decided I'm gonna go. Why not? It was an hour drive for me. That's not a big deal. I'm used to driving all over creation, with Jared doing what he does, and how we always live far away from our family. I don't care. Like, an hour drive is nothing. So I hopped in the truck and off I went and had an amazing evening with these ladies. They are hilarious. They are so unapologetic for who they are. They just like, this is the way we are. We're going to talk about everything and anything and not apologize for it. And I laughed so hard. I had such a great time. So thank you for inviting me, and it was great. I had so much fun. I can't remember the name of the lady that invited me to the one in Edmonton at River City Yarns, but what was your name? Laura? Is that right? If I got that right, I need a high five because that's impressive. Anyway, their knit nights are on Thursday nights, and I'm going to try my hardest to schedule a trip to come up. I need to see Brittany, my sister-in-law. She just had a little baby. His name is Oliver, and I have not met him yet, so I'm going to try and come up for a visit to visit him and plan it around a knit night so that I can meet some people up here and see the grocery girls again. I'm going to make sure that they come because go to your knit night. If you have a knit night that's like 5 minutes from your house, go to it, because it sucks when you don't have one that's so close. All of my knit nights are virtual, which is awesome and totally fine, but if you have a knit night, go to it, because there's amazing people around you that you need in your life. That is all. Preachy soapbox, whatever. What else? Oh yeah, went for a ski in Kananaskis with the retirees again. It was the most perfect skiing conditions in the world, ever. The snow was incredible. I think it was only about -5 to -10 the entire time. We went up to Elk Pass, so down at the parking lot was only -5, and then up at the pass was about -10, but the sun was so bright and so strong. We were sitting up there in just like our, you know, our light merino layers, and the sun was just glorious. We were just sitting up there soaking it in. There was still hoarfrost on all the trees, so the sun was melting the hoarfrost and it was making it like magically snow and fluff down from the trees. It was insane. I wanted to have my camera on for the entire ski, because every single moment of it I was just in awe of where I live, and the beauty that I get to see is just insane. One of the best skis I've ever had. I would actually say the best ski I've ever had. We did 17 kilometers and we figured out a really good route so that we got all of the work done in the first hour of the ski, and then the 3 hours remaining were either really like whoop-de-whoops or downhill. So it was perfect. It was perfect for my hip. It was perfect for the day. It was incredible. So happy that I live where I live. I wish I lived in it, but really, don't complain about what you have, because it could be worse. Oh man, I'm just thinking about this. It was amazing. Before we do shenanigans, I want to mention a podcast that I've been appreciating lately. I don't think I talked about it last week. Maybe I should just look in my notes from last week. Nope, didn't talk about it last week. So, this week's podcast is an audio podcast. It is called the Relentless Knitting Podcast. Carla and Emily are the hostesses with the mostesses. They are fantastic. I really enjoy listening to them chat. Small child screaming outside. It's like hanging out with a couple of friends. And I actually did get to meet them at Knit City last year. They were at the dinner on Friday night, the ridiculous dinner with the terrible service. They were there, and Carla was extremely pregnant. She has since had a small child, and he's really cute. And Emily actually just announced that she is pregnant again. She's moving to Victoria, which is exciting, but stressful and sad, and I feel all of your pain. Emily, if you're listening, I doubt it, but anyway, check them out. They're very entertaining. They do, they obviously have knitting sections, and then, but at the end they have, what's it called? Adventure in Parenting section at the end, where they talk about just the hilarity that is kids and all of that, which can be quite comical. So I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it. They're very rad ladies. So go check them out. That's the Relentless Knitting Podcast, and you can find it on iTunes. Yeah, they're great. What else am I going to talk about? Oh, I got gifted a pattern. I got gifted a few patterns since I've seen you last, which is pretty cool. Very cool. This one was from Pearl Erica from Sweden on Ravelry. She's Pearl Erica on Ravelry. She gifted me a pattern from Alpaca Anna Designs, which is someone that I've been following for a long time. She just changed her name and I can't remember what it is on Instagram, but from what I could tell on Ravelry, she's still Alpaca Anna Designs. She gifted me the Fergus pattern, which I love because Fergus is the name of the dad from the Disney show Brave, and it's probably my favorite kids Disney show right now because it's fantastic. It's the one with the crazy, the Irish little girl, and she has the crazy red curly hair and she wants to just shoot her bow and arrow and ride her horse all day. It's fantastic. So when she gifted me that and it was named Fergus, that just made me smile. So thank you for the patterned sock pattern. I'm gonna cast those on. I think I've even chosen the yarn because I've been looking through my stash lately. My hair looks ridiculous. Whatever. So thank you. I appreciate that, Erica. I assume your name is Erica. Man, it just makes me, it just blows me away that people gift me things. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to insert For the Love of Trees right here. Enjoy. For the Love of Trees. Are you ready? Reading out loud is hard for me. Okay. We're back to the hidden life of trees. And this chapter is chapter 4. I'm just going to take little snippets out of it. And hopefully you like it. The leisurely pace at which trees live their lives is also apparent when it comes to procreation. Reproduction is planned at least a year in advance. Whether tree love happens every spring depends on the species. Whereas conifers send their seeds out into the world at least once a year. Deciduous trees have a completely different strategy. Before they bloom, they agree amongst themselves. Should they go for it next spring, or would it be better to wait a year or two? Trees in a forest prefer to bloom at the same time so that the genes of many individual trees can be well mixed. Conifers and deciduous trees agree on this, but deciduous trees have one other factor to consider: browsers, such as wild-born deer. Boar deer are extremely partial to beech nuts and acorns, both of which help them put on a protective layer of fat for the winter. They seek out these nuts because they contain up to 50% oil and starch, more than any other food. Often, whole areas of forests are picked clean down to the last morsel in the fall so that, come spring, hardly any beech and oak seedlings sprout. And that's why the trees agree in advance. If they don't bloom every year, then the herbivores cannot count on them. The next generation is kept in check because over the winter the pregnant animals must endure a long stretch with little food, and many of them will not survive. When the beech or oak finally bloom all at the same time and set fruit, then it is possible for the few herbivores left to demolish everything, so that there are always enough undiscovered seeds left over to sprout. Skipping down. When beech and oaks put blooming on hold for a number of years, this has grave consequences for insects as well, especially for bees. It is the same for bees as it is for wild boar. A multi-year hiatus causes their populations to collapse, or more accurately, could cause them to collapse, because bees never build up large enough populations in deciduous forests in the first place. The reason is that true forest trees couldn't care less about these little helpers. What use are the few pollinators left after barren years when you then unfurl millions upon millions of blossoms over hundreds of square miles? If you are a beech or an oak, you have to come up with a more reliable method of pollination, perhaps even one that doesn't exact payment. And what could be more natural than using the wind? The wind blows powdery pollen out of the blossoms and carries it over to the neighboring trees. The wind has a further advantage. It still blows when temperatures fall, even when they drop below 53 degrees Fahrenheit, which is when it gets too chilly for bees and they stay home. Conifers bloom almost every year, which means bees are an option for pollination, because they would always find food. However, conifers are native to northern forests, which are too chilly for bees to be out and about while the trees are blooming. And that is probably why conifers, like beech and oak, prefer to rely on the wind. Conifers don't need to worry about taking breaks from blooming, like beeches or oaks, because they have no reason to fear deer and wild boar. The small seeds inside the cones of spruce and code just don't offer an attractive source of nutrition. True, there are birds such as red crossbills which pick off cones with the tips of their powerful crossbills and eat the seeds inside, but in general, birds don't seem to be a big problem. And because there's almost no animal that likes to store conifer seeds for winter food, the trees release their potential heirs into the world on tiny wings. Thus equipped, their seeds float down from the tips of the branches and can easily be carried away on the breath of a wind. I'm just going to make sure I'm going to read the right part to you. Yeah, okay. So, skipping a little bit more. Some species have a particularly effective way of avoiding inbreeding. Each individual has only one gender. For example, they're both male and female willows on separate trees. For example, I just said that, which means they can never mate with themselves but only procreate with other willows. But willows, it must be said, aren't true forest trees. They colonize pioneer sites, areas that are not yet forested, because there are thousands of wildflowers and shrubs blooming in such a place. They attract bees. Willows, like bird cherries, also rely on insects for pollination. But here a problem arises. The bees must first fly to the male willows, collect pollen there. Uh-oh, something's falling over there. Whatever. I'm going to start that section again. Some species have a particularly effective way of avoiding inbreeding. Each individual has only one gender. For example, there are both male and female willows, which means they can never mate with themselves but only procreate with other willows. But willows, it must be said, aren't true forest trees. They colonize pioneer sites, areas that are not yet forested. Because there are thousands of wildflowers and shrubs blooming in such a place, they attract bees. Willows, like bird cherries, also rely on insects for pollination. But here arises a problem. The bees must first fly to the male willow, collect pollen there, and then transport the pollen to the female tree. If it was the other way around, there would be no fertilization. How does the tree manage this if both sexes have to bloom at the same time? Scientists have discovered that all willows secrete an alluring scent to attract bees. Once the insect arrives at the target, the willow switches to visual signs. With this in mind, male willows put out a lot of effort into their catkins and make them bright yellow. This attracts the bees to them first. Once the bees have had their first meal of sugary nectar, they leave and visit the inconspicuous greenish flowers of the female tree. Nature's magical. Okay, let's talk about knitting. So, the FOs. That's it. What else? FOs. I feel as though I should have more FOs, but this is all I could think of. I finished Emmy's ski socks, and aren't they fantastic? She put them on immediately. As soon as I cast off the second one, she put them on immediately, wore them the rest of that day, and then wore them again the next day. And then I stole them back so that I could show you guys. So she loves them. The pattern that I used was my rounded toe pattern, which you can find in my Ravelry group, the podcast group, which is the Lone Larch podcast group. There's a thread that says Jenny's rounded toe or something like that. So I used the rounded toe for that. I think I only went up to 52 stitches for her tiny feet. And then I just did a patterning out of my brain. It was knit 2, purl 2 for a row, and then knit for 2 rows. And then I just kept doing that all the way up. I used a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then I just did a 2x2 rib for the top. The yarn that I used is Yarn Ink. The purple is Royal. Oh, isn't that amazing? It is that rich in real life. It's just gorgeous. Royal, and then the toes and the accents is also Yarn Ink in the Jazz colorway. And I got these at Knit City specifically to make socks for Emmy with, because I always just use leftover yarn for her, and I thought, no, she needs a proper pair of purple Emmy socks, because purple's her favorite color. So there they are. She loves them. I love them. The only thing I think I'm going to do is put, I don't know I can't remember what it's called, but the sticky stuff that goes on you can put on the bottom of slippers and stuff. I'm going to put a couple dots on the bottom of her socks because we have hardwood floors at home, and she has flown into walls a few times wearing handmade socks. So I may give her a little bit of a grip factor so that we don't have black eyes and bloody noses and goose eggs and all of that fun stuff. So those are those. Refer to notes. Katie!
Hi.
I found Katie. This is my sister Katie. She lives in Edmonton. She has recently started knitting. You've knit for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Like on and off, but
but
recently.
it was like with those giant needles, and it was just
Yeah.
not, yeah.
Or crocheting.
Or crocheting. I made hats.
Yes.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Some turned out, some not so much.
Did not. But when I was down at my parents' at Christmas, Katie was there as well, and she had an itch and she wanted to start knitting too.
Yeah.
So she did. She made a tiny sock. Half of it was inside out, but that's okay.
Yes.
We were learning here. That's fine.
It was my first attempt.
Yeah. And her second project is
A scarf. A scarf. Oh, a triangle scarf.
this is a lacy bad kiss by somebody, I can't remember what it is. So you just scavenged from April's yarn stash.
Yeah, it's like plastic yarn.
Yeah, it's whatever acrylic. It's very scratchy for acrylic. I actually
Yeah.
think there might be some wool in it.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty, I don't know. We'll see how it blocks out, because that's how you'll find out. I don't have the touch for
Because if
to
it,
tell different fibers yet.
yeah, does it? Because you said it wouldn't block out nearly as nicely as.
Yeah, acrylic doesn't release like wool does.
Oh, okay.
So it'll stay exactly the same shape if it's acrylic. If it's wool, it'll get all like loose and
pretty.
drapey.
And drapey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you can definitely tell it was my first attempt because of the random like rows. Some there's like 2, and then other ones there's like 3, and then over here there's like 5. And so I'm really.
But your eyelet rows are very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. And the color is fantastic too.
Yeah, I
Pretty
liked
good.
it.
You're
It's
totally
bright and
winning.
shiny. Yeah?
Yeah,
Winning?
you're totally winning.
Yeah. I want to do a sock again.
Well, fancy. Funny you should say that.
Oh dear.
Katie asked for a bag, so I said, of course, I'll give you a bag. Here's a bag. You should look inside, Katie, and see what's inside.
Oh dear. Oh, it's so pretty.
What is it, Katie?
Yeah, it's yarn. Yarn, apparently. Apparently I'm saying things like that.
Yarn.
Yarn. I'm strange, okay?
Show them.
Everyday sock. Look how pretty it is. It's so multicolored, like me.
You are very colorful.
Apparently-
She just cut her hair. Doesn't it look good?
Yeah. And I got
And
it
it's
dyed.
purpley.
It's like purpley-ish.
I don't know if you can see
You
the
can
purple.
barely even tell. If we're in sunlight, you can tell. But
It's really great.
yay!
So what is it?
So it's Black Cat custom yarn. Beautiful. And it is the everyday sock.
That's the base. That's the kind of yarn that it is.
yarn. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Nyan.
That's the colorway.
Okay, 115 grams or
400 yards.
And it's merino. It's I was gonna say maraschino.
Maraschino yarn. Maraschino wool.
80% superwash. Merino wool, 20% nylon. Yeah,
And that's all just,
that's
yeah,
all.
that's all just gauge and stuff.
This is how to do things.
Yeah. So Black Cat Custom Yarn is a chick that lives in, no, that's Farm Ferry. Where does she live? She lives in Chilliwack, and she was at Knit City, and that's where I got that yarn.
It's beautiful. I love it.
And actually, when I go to Kate's in, oh no, that might be the wrong person. That's the wrong person. That's Farm Ferry. I think we're gonna try and book a dyeing class with her.
Ooh.
Yeah, you go and she teaches you how to do
Dye
different
stuff.
techniques, and you walk away with a skein of your own dyed yarn, the colors that you choose, and a great evening. So I brought.
This looks like she literally was like, and let's throw some of that color in.
Oh,
and
totally.
Let's throw some of that color in, and I love it.
So I brought my ball winder and my Swift, so we'll
Oh, good.
kick it up. Whips. What do I have for whips? I showed you that I finished my dad's sock last time, right? That's the first one done. I started the second one. That's the wrong bag. I started the second one, and I have, don't lose those papers. These are very important papers that tell me when to increase, because my dad has very swollen ankles. So these are very, very customized socks. Yeah, so here you can see all my increases. Those are where I've done increases so that it will fit around his larger ankle. Yeah, I think I'm ready to do the heel. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure, because that's why I stopped working on them. And I have to pay attention to do the heel, so I put them to the side until I could focus. So those are coming along nicely. I was going to try and have the heel done so I could meet them tonight, but I'm going to end up and get him to try it on is what I'm trying to say. But I'm going to end up needing to go home before they get here. So anyway, you don't need to know that. But apparently I share my entire life with you, so there you go. This is Arnie and Carlos Regia yarn in the colorway 03659. And my dad thinks it's magic how they stripe, which is pretty fun to watch the look on his face. How does it do that? Katie did the same thing. She's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. So anyway, this is the yarn. You all know what it is. So yeah, those are top priority. I want to get those done because Dad is patiently waiting for them and I am taking forever to finish them. So magic. Okay, so this is a shawl that I've started. Backstory, Carly, Lara's sister, is who we stay with when we go to Knit City. She lives in Burnaby and is fantastic. She bought this yarn at Knit City 2 years ago thinking, okay, I am going to learn how to do this and I am going to make this amazing this amazing shawl, and she is a busy human and hasn't gotten to it. So when we were there last year, Lara and I both took 2 skeins of what she had purchased to make her shawls and said, you know what, Carly, we'll just make them for you and then you'll have the shawls that you wanted and there you go. Then you don't have to guilt trip yourself the fact that you haven't made them yet. So these are the 2 colors that I got. These are Rain City Knits. Is that a lie? Rain City? Yeah, that's right. But I don't have the tags anymore because I didn't get them from Carly. So I have no idea what the colorways are, but they're Rain City Knits and they're fingering weight. Rain City Knits is extremely thin fingering. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but I ran into this when I was doing my, what's it called? Because I Love You wrap by Inked Indigo. I used Rain City Knits for that. Rain City Knits yarn for that, and that's why my gauge was all weird, and that's why I had like 75% left of my yarn, is because it's super, super, super light fingering. Doesn't really matter in this situation because I'm just going to keep going until I run out of yarn, essentially. I am making her the Dotted Rays shawl by West Knits is the best knits. And I love it. There are 1,000 ends, but I am weaving in one end of the pink as I go. Like, as I get to it, I'm weaving in one end, and then so there's only one end left for me to weave in at the end. I tried to do 2, but it looks messy, so I had to figure out a better way to do it. But this is what it looks like. I love doing the Dotted Rays pattern. It's fantastic. It's so very mindless. There is short rows, but it's very obvious where you have to turn around, so it's still mindless. Do you like my stitch marker? Or not my stitch marker, my progress keeper? It came from Sarah of Riv Creative. If you don't know who Sarah is, go and find her on Instagram and Etsy. She has fantastic stitch markers. and progress keepers, and she started doing necklaces that you can clip your progress keepers and your stitch markers on. Fantastic. She's rad. Go find her. So that's the dotted rays. It's for Carly and not for me, but I'm loving knitting it because I love Carly so much that it warms my heart that she's going to be able to wear this and enjoy this. Isn't that great? Oh, I love it. Short rows are magical. Anyway, so that's that. What else am I working on? Okay, I am working on the Elk Pass hat that I just dreamed up because when it was time to go skiing with the old men, everything that I was working on required thought. So okay, I have to start something that I can bring with me for car knitting. Little did I forget that Warren is a very jerky driver and I get car sick very easily. So I didn't actually knit on it that much. However, I'm really glad I started it because I love it. The Elk Pass hat is something I'm just dreaming up out of my head. I probably will write it up and I'm going to get Kate to test knit it for me, my friend Kate. It's very simple and this is it. Can you tell him? Yeah, I'm totally getting a cold. Boo. So you can't actually see the patterning very well because of the amazing yarn, but let's see if I can get it to show you some of it anyway. It's very, very simple. It's essentially I think it's called a linen stitch. That might be a lie. Doesn't matter. So this yarn is Sweet Georgia. Do I have the tag? I should. It's Sweet Georgia in the bourbon colorway. Look at that. Superwash worsted. Sweet Georgia. In the bourbon colorway. Superwash merino, 20 yards. Yeah, it's 20 yards. 200 yards. And it's glorious. So that's it. This colorway is glorious. And the cool thing is that this light turquoise right there is exactly the same color as the coat that I always wear. My Patagonia Nano Air coat, which is the best coat I've ever owned. Just side note. I'm a big Patagonia fan. Anyway, so do I really want to do this to my hair? Yes. Who cares? It's just hair, right? So I'm at the decreases. I'm ready to decrease. It's going to fit exactly the same as my Wellington, I think. I'm hoping. Ooh, isn't that great? So I'm going to do a quick decrease because it's already ready. Time. Very much so time. Quick decrease, and then I'm going to put a big pom-pom because you know what? Life is too short to not have a pom-pom on your hat. I've discovered. Sorry, Lara. My tastes have changed. Not sorry at all because doesn't matter, but. So that is the Elk Pass hat. It's from my brain. I'm going to write it up and make it available to you guys at some point, but please be patient with me. Isn't that yarn amazing? I love the way that it's striping. I love it. The yarn is candy to knit with. Using 4.5 Addies. Doing it in magic loop because I don't have 14s. I don't have 16-inch needles anymore. I got rid of all my 16-inch needles because they were all the like plasticky, gross kind. So I was being a snob one day, a needle snob, and just got rid of them all. Took them all to the thrift store. It's kind of a bad choice because I was tired of doing magic loop and I just wanted to knit and knit and knit, right? And not have to go back and forth. Whatever. That's the yarn in the skein. Isn't it great? Oh, it's glorious. I really, really like this colorway. So that is that. Random bit of thing in my knitting bag. Seashells. From when I went and had my quiet time when we moved Jared's mom from Vancouver Island to Olds. Aren't they pretty? This one's got some weird blue schmang on it. I don't know what it is, but it's still pretty. Still in my knitting bag. Okay, So, I just remembered something I have to tell you. I'm going to take it out of this pocket so I don't forget. One moment, please. Okay. So, that is the Elk Pass hat. How many times am I going to say that? Probably 4 more. Those are all the things I'm working on. There are many exciting things that are going to be started very soon. Oh, I decided not to make my power pole scarf because, you know what, it was painful and knit only happiness. The end. So, coming up. I talked about this last time. I was generously gifted another pattern from Kimo on Ravelry, Kiemo. She's from Scotland, I think. Am I making that up? Maybe. I can't remember. If I'm wrong, sorry. I have a bad memory. I should have written it down. I did not. Anyway, she gifted me the Shalob wrap shoulder thing. I don't know what to call it. By Caitlin French. It's oh, what are they called? I think it's called like a bolero or something like that. If you were at Knit City and you were in the Wet Coast Wools booth, they had a sample of it that was hanging, and it was made out of this magical baby alpaca mulberry silk yarn. It was hanging on the thing right beside all of this yarn. It's a spiderweb lace pattern, and it just goes over your shoulders. You pretty much just make a rectangle, I think, and then bring the seams up and sew them along the top edge, and that makes little armholes, and then it just sits on your shoulders. So I was gifted that pattern, which was so perfect timing because I am nearly ready to, as soon as I'm done the Elk Pass hat, I am going to cast this on. And my friend Lara actually has some of this yarn as well from deep, deep, deep stash. Stop hoarding all your yarn, Lara, and just use it. Right? What was our hashtag? It was hilarious. Stop hoarding your yarn or something like, whatever. It's fantastic. She has some of this yarn, and so we decided that we're going to do a little knit along and make something out of it together. This stuff is insane. I call it my Illuminati yarn. It's not called Illuminati yarn. It's called Alimani? Lara says it all nice and proper. I don't know. It is gorgeous. 56% mulberry silk, 40% baby alpaca, and 4% merino. It's a chain ply. I don't know if it's still called a chain ply, but it has, if I can get it to focus. No. Maybe you can see it. Oh yeah, you can see it down here. It's got like the chain structure, and then the other stuff is kind of like haloed over top of it. Glorious. So I'm going to start that very soon. I kind of talked about that last time, I think, but that's okay. That's actually happening. The other thing that's coming up, I went to River City Yarns yesterday, really quick, because why not? Really. But Katie had a dining room table that she needed picking up from a friend of hers, and it was 10 minutes from River City. So we went to River City Yarns, and I finally got my eco wool. I am going to make the Fireside Pullover by Jane Richmond. I have wanted to make this since Knit City, and now I am making it happen. Yeah, I'm sure you all know what it looks like. I'll put a picture in, but this is the eco wool. This is exactly what they ask for in the pattern. I'm using color 8400. Katie is very good with color and style in general. She's very fancy. She's much fancier than I am. So it was really cool to go to the yarn shop with her, and oh, look at that. I'm wearing this exact color. I'm so clueless sometimes. Anyway, we put a couple of other lighter grays against my skin, and she said that this one is the best for my coloring, and I will wear it more. I'm so clueless sometimes. Anyway, Katie for the win. That's it. It's 100% Peruvian, right? Made in Peru. 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I can't wait. I'm so excited to knit in not fingering weight. That's another reason why I started that hat actually, is because I'm so over fingering weight right now. I need something bigger for my hands. So that will be happening soon. There's lots of Jane Richmond and Shannon Cook knit-alongs right now, but I don't think I'm going to get it done fast enough to qualify. But I'm going to take a look and see if I can hop in on anybody's knit-along. Another thing that I decided I'm going to do for 2017 is I'm going to keep a yardage tally. I was going to do whatever it's called. Now I'm not going to remember what it's called. But is it the Knit Girls? Crap, I can't even remember who does it now. But it's where you try and use a certain, like you try, race to see how much yardage you can use in a certain period of time. Like it's like a marathon thing, only with yardage. I was going to try and do that last year, and it just didn't happen. It wasn't very realistic for me because I'm kind of busy. And my life is knitting, but there's so much more to it than that I just didn't feel like I could keep up. So I've decided I'm just going to keep a yearly tally of how much yardage I go through. So I've started, this is my count so far. And all it is I'm going through all my projects and I'm calculating how much yardage I'm using for each project. And then every couple of months I'm going to tally it up and just see how I'm doing. And it's really out of curiosity. It really doesn't matter or whatever. I just am curious how much yarn I'm actually going through because I make a lot of things. I just realized I forgot something else that's coming up. I'm gonna do the Snow Melt Mystery Cal. I've never done a Mystery Cal before. I'm gonna give it a go. So I pulled out some yarn from my stash, and this is what I think I'm gonna use. You need a medium, you need a light color, a medium color, and a dark color. This is gonna be my light color. This is Vivid, Vivid Yarn Studio, Julia. I've met Julia a couple times. She's fantastic and lovely. This is her Beast Black colorway. It was gifted to me by Jody from the Grocery Girls. You're amazing. I'm so glad I get to use this. That's going to be my light. And then this is going to be my medium. This is Robin's Roost fingering sock with Stellina in the colorway Stormy Sky. Thank you, Robin. This was another gift. This is another amazing thing about using all these yarns that have been gifted. Pardon me. It makes me think of all these people as I'm knitting with the yarn, and it just makes me so happy. And then my darkest color is going to be the leftover from Emmy's socks, the Yarn Ink in the Royal colorway. So, what do you think? Do you think that's going to be cool? There you go. That's pretty good. And I even did, like I took a picture of all of these together and then I turned it into a black and white picture so you can see how contrasty things actually are. And it was very definite which one was the light, which one was the medium, which one was the dark. So I hope that's gonna look okay. This was the only combination from my stash that I had any sort of interest in. So we'll see how it goes. If you don't know what that is, it's called the Snow Melt Mystery Cal by Curious Handmade. The first clue comes out February the 2nd, which I think is Thursday. And then you get a new clue every week, and I think there's 8 clues. So I'm excited to work through this with everybody else in kind of a long time period, be able to do the clue and then have the rest of the week to work on other stuff. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'm very picky on my designs that I choose to wear, so I'm a little bit nervous if I'm even gonna like it. But life's too short not to do mystery cals, right? Right. That's it. This I'm gonna talk about next time. Jane from Jane's Adventures in Dinner, she won the Project Whip Cal, and she generously donated back to me, which was very cool, $10 for a pattern of your choice for the next cal that I have. So I'm gonna dream up a cal. I have no idea what it's gonna be. but stay tuned. So thank you so much, Jane, for donating. You guys are amazing. Amazing. Okay. I think that's it. I'm continuously stocking the shop, as I talked about before. The only thing that has changed from my shop, is I have a new little extra that is going to be coming with all my bags. Carly, who is getting the dotted rays shawl, Carly from Burnaby, Lara's sister, has her own company, and she makes lip balms. I think she's just doing lip balms at this point. She's going to eventually branch out and do some other body products, but right now she does lip balms. And I've got some samples from her. So I've got 30 samples, so for the next 30 orders that come in, there's 2 waiting at home right now, but for the next, I guess, 28, oh, because I gave my one, 27, maybe 26, because I was thinking of giving one to Katie, doesn't matter. For the next few orders that come in, you will be getting one of her samples of her lip balm. She has 3 flavors. This one's Unite. See if I can tell the difference. There's a peppermint one, a vanilla one, and then I think a coffee flavored one. That might be wrong, but I'll have it detailed in my shop. This is Voltage, that's the peppermint one. And then the Sunday Morning with a Lover, which is the coffee, I think vanilla coffee, I can't remember. I'll write down what they are at the bottom. So those are her samples that are going to be coming out with my bags. Now, the products, everything that's in it is natural. There's no petrochemicals or any bad stuff that's gonna give you cancer or anything. They're all natural, but I am worried about allergies for people, because some people react to essential oils. There are essential oils in here. So if you make an order and you have any concerns whether or not you can use it or not, please just put a note saying, skip me this time, and then I'll put my other little extras in that I normally do. Okay, so I forgot to tell you guys, very exciting news. I booked tickets to go see Kate and Lanny in Langley in March. And when we're gonna be there is over the same weekend as Fibers West, which is a little fiber show in, I think it's Surrey, on March the 18th. Did I say that already? So excited. If you're in the area, I will be there. If you want to meet up or whatever, just let me know that you're gonna be there. And if you're too scared to, don't be silly and just come and say hi. So very excited. And I will see all you West Coasters very soon. That is it. I hope you guys can have a great week. 2 weeks. See you again. Next week, because it's been so warm out, I'm going to try and record outside in more naturey areas. Unless it's -1,000, and then I'll be inside again. But until then, I love you all. Big kiss. And see you soon. Bye. Mwah.